Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what is going on? My name is Boit, and I am back with some more Age of Mythology Retold action in the top of the map, playing as the Aztecian god, Quetzalcoatl. His name is Tunison. I mean, he's on his smurf called Mau Mau because he's scared that he's going to lose his high rating points. But anyways, his opponent today in the red color playing as Susanoo is Pegasus. I'm very, very excited to see this game. Two of the best players are currently playing on the ladder. We're also on one of the new maps. This is Obsidian Ridge. Very, very unique. Has that Starcraft 2-esque feel to it with the extra settlements or expansions here. You get yourself a nice little what is it? Let's call it a gas thing, as well as all of your minerals, right? You see what they've done there? I really enjoy this. I think this is a kind of cool idea for Age of Mythology. I don't actually even think that they need to go quite as crazy hard on the cliff side of things with these sorts of expansions, but they can do these sorts of ideas whereby the sort of town centers or settlements have got a very, very nice, safe sort of position, maybe like a back sort of position, and then they can also then have that open type of map as well as a bit of an option. So, you know, random ideas for some new maps and things like that to come in can be very exciting. Over here, we've got the Titan's Treasure. This is going to be making some age ups a little bit cheaper. We've also got the Tearfing Angantir's Sword, which is going to make your healable heroes get some life steal of 10%. We've also got the Fetters of Finrir, making villagers do some bonus damage. And finally, the Black Lotus is villagers gather rate for farms going up by 10%. So, as these players are starting to really get their teeth sunk into the Aztecs, we're starting to see some really cool stuff here as Tunison, he goes for the lumber outpost first. On launch, we were kind of seeing the Aztec players feeling that the livestock pen was maybe the first and best choice. But now, as the players are getting better, they're realizing, actually, wait, if we go for the lumber outpost first, this is protection for my base. It also gets my wood income in faster, which then allows me to get my livestock pen in quicker, and then finally get the crafts workshop in to finish it up with Quetzalcoatl. I wouldn't be surprised to see this type of idea also used with the other two Aztec gods as well. Of course, if I've got myself already 10 villagers on food, I do want the livestock pen there, but you know, if I get the extra wood in, it allows me to get the livestock pen in. It sort of makes sense to some degree, but mostly it makes sense because of the survivability and the garrison ability on the wood, which is going to be a difficult position to defend. Nonetheless, the real question here is maybe not how Tunison is going to play this, but maybe how Pegasus is going to be playing this. He's going to go through Inari or Kami, everyone's favorite god for the Japanese, with that swampland and all the other good stuff. And we are going to be seeing Patakat here. I think that's actually right. I might have found my way there. Anyways, we're going to be seeing this Patakat god coming through for Tunison, and that's going to give him some defensive sort of help against any of the crazy raids that Pegasus might want to go for here. It's really not the best raiding map, Obsidian Ridge. Very, very easy to wall up and defend yourself. For example, if Tunison didn't chop down this tree, he actually can still do this. He can like wall from here up to here, and then that backside's going to be nice and safe. He can protect his gold mine over here by actually building some walls out this way and then walling over. And then, of course, the other side of his map that's important to defend here is just to wall up over onto this and over onto this. And then he's basically created a very, very nice defensive position, as Pegasus does decide to go in for the Kitsune. Kitsune raids are pretty brutal here. Wisdom of the 9 coming in as well, and Tunison is going to be getting caught out here early on, as this villager will not be making it home today. Nice find there, as Tunison Tried to get the walls up, but just that little bit too slow. And another villager find here. Brutal. As those kitsune just sneak in and get that surround. Beautiful play from Pegasus. Tunison's got to be kicking himself for not having out the warrior priest already. If the warrior priest was in, yeah, maybe he would have lost the villager, but he definitely would have killed off a kitsune or two for a nice trade back, as Pegasus now has got complete free reign and protection and stranglehold onto Tunison now in this early game. Tunison does not have any good options to put pressure back over onto Pegasus. He can't really go for a talent center just yet. He can't really do anything. He wants to get over onto this hunt. And Pegasus on the back here, he can now make some decisions. Does he go for a second talent center? I like that move. I don't think that Pegasus needs to play a one talent center all-in type style here in this map. He can very easily just say, great, give me this settlement. Let me wall this. Let me wall this. And then let's play some reaction with the small amount of units that we've got out and see what our opponent's doing. Not looking to lose any units, just looking to poke in and get damage where damage can get done. As he charges over here, villagers have to garrison, and then he immediately leaves, and that's idle time caused, and he's just going to sit in here dodging arrows. That is brutal. And really, Pegasus, or Tunison, he needs to react to this, because these units they're just happily hanging here causing idle time. That's so much idle time there. So brutal. We do see the Heroic Age God to come through. This does give you access to the Armadillo, I believe. But that's some brutal defense or brutal offense from Pegasus. And it does go to show, and I'm going to keep on saying this until I start seeing these top players doing it. And then when they start doing it and it doesn't work, then I can start talking about why I was wrong. But this does bring a lot of point here. Why not put the houses like this? Why not drop a wall down, and then all of a sudden you wouldn't have had any of these problems? Make your life easy. Wall what is safe to wall, and then start expanding from there. Both players actually are planning here the fast heroic, as the villagers for Tunison trying to bail here. They will get to the tower, but idle time yet again forced, as the tower is going to take just a little bit of harassment. I'm still surprised here that we're not seeing a town center from Pegasus. And I'm also surprised here to see the Raijin. So the Raiju is one of the strongest Heroic Age myth units in the game, but its strength comes specifically from its speed stat. And speed is as a metric in Age of Mythology basically means, oh, you have lots of speed, okay, you lose stats elsewhere. That's what it means, right? So if you can't utilize that speed to get value, then it ends up not being very useful. On a map like Obsidian Ridge, where the walls should already be set up early game, well, guess what? The Raiju will not be finding any value in these sorts of games. That's my contention. So if that's the case, surely the Oni makes tons of sense here. And I know this is maybe even becoming a meme at this point. I beg these players to go for the Oni, but I would go on this map, I would be going for Fujin every single time if I was playing. Now, there is one really, really big caveat here, is that unlike Fujin, you do get access to Thunderburst, and Thunderburst is an incredibly powerful god power. And also, Tunison doesn't really have HP regen outside of the Agave Bloom. The Agave Bloom is in. That actually ends up being a nice counter to Thunderburst, which maybe even says even more why potentially going for Raijin is not the right call. So what do I mean by this? Well, Thunderburst is amazing versus archers, of which I'm sure Tunison is going to want to grab. So yeah, Thunderburst is going to be able to kill off those archers. But then Agave Bloom comes down, heals up the archers after the Thunderburst is done, and then he's good to go. As now the units are slowly starting to move around, we see some big technologies coming through for Tunison. And I really actually like the way that Tunison has decided to play this. In going through Coatlicue, Coatlicue, he gets access to this technology. And also going through Pataket, he gets Ocpactly infusions. So both of these technologies in tandem boost every single one of his units. That amount of late game advantage cannot be understated. As yet again, walls coming up here for Tunison. He does get caught out. That will be another villager pick. But behind this, Tunison has his second town center. Now, the Pegasus game plan here seems to be looking for all of this pressure. But the problem for him, the main problem for him, is he doesn't have any building killing potential inside of his myth units, inside of his human units. He actually needs a castle to start sieging this down, and there's a gold mine at the back. So, and there's food in Tunison's main base. So Tunison should be perfectly fine here to just grab watchtowers and just build units, play defense, sit behind this. He should be fine. He's also got the Earth Monster as well to help defend. But Pegasus at the moment, he is on a plan. He probably, I was expecting him to move these forward and drop a castle right in the face of Tunison here. But to be fair, he doesn't actually know that Tunison is on 2 TCs. He might be expecting a fast Mythic here, of which a forward castle might be a really bad move because it can just get erased by the Pillar of Tlalocan. As these warrior priests to come through, they are not going to be cutting the mustard against this amount of human unit. I was singing Tunison's praises in this game, but he still hasn't built any real units here. On the back here, he's got his war huts. He can build spearmen. Very, very good unit to take out those Naginata riders. But Pegasus also has the samurai to deal with those, as the units are going to get popped back out here. Walls attempting to come out to prevent these units from running. We've also got the Tech Shipla to come in here. We've got now the Naginata, no, not the Naginata, the Kusanagi to come through for even more pressure, as Pegasus is managing to take out the majority of Tunison's units here. That being said, all of the myth unit from Pegasus has been dealt with. All of the human units here are now stuck in this main base, and the rest of those are going to be falling. And while the Raiju over here is also now going to be getting taken out, Tunison has well and truly defended himself. That being said, villager differential is equal right now, and Pegasus still not aware that there's a talent in here, but with the walls here and the war hut here, you have to imagine that that's the case. The one thing here that Tunison hasn't done, which I think is a very, very big mistake and would definitely have helped him out, is he didn't grab watchtowers. He's got all the resources for it, but he didn't grab them. If he had watchtowers, all of these units would be dead, his walls wouldn't be dying, and he would be very, very safe now. Now, I guess on top of this, now that Pegasus knows that this back town center is here, I'd love to see him just grab these villagers, wander in here, drop this castle down in the face of Tunison, and be good to go. He does have a castle on the back though, so his plan may be to just get to the Mythic Age. Of course, there is still these really, really strong god powers available for Pegasus. He's got 150 favor in the bank. He hasn't used a single god power outside of his initial Kusanagi. And what that means is, if he can get to Watatsumi before using any of those god powers, well, guess what? Dragon Typhoon comes down. Then all the units die. Then the units come back out. Then Swampland comes down. And then also Thunderbirds comes down. And then potentially also another Kusanagi comes down. And then Dragon Typhoon becomes very, very cheap to grab. And we'll see this here from Pegasus as he'll grab Den Den Drums as well, going into the God Power Spammage later in the game. As the Flamani Spearmen now coming out, they are very, very, very good at preventing these raids from the Naginata Riders. That being said, if villagers are going to pop out here and start getting jiggy with it, life's going to be tough. I would definitely consider, if I am Tunison, to just simply stop chopping this wood down and move onto this back wood line. But nonetheless, Watatsumi is now coming through. We do have Tlaloc to come in for Tunison as well, as he's doing a really good job of like min defending. He's got the town center up, which means his economy is going to be nice. He's going to be in the Mythic Age, but any units that he's going to build here, they're not going to be very useful. Any units. The other problem is, like I said already, while it makes sense for Pegasus to walk in and just drop a castle and start sieging, that Pillar of Tlalocan does make that significantly weaker. So playing a little bit slower does make some sense here for Pegasus, as now he drops his second town center. Makes sense. Get to the get to the Mythic Age. You've now got your god power to take out whatever army might come at you, and you can start playing a little bit of catch up on the economy. In fact, you could probably also go to 3 town centers here and be perfectly fine and reasonable with what's coming next. That being said, we also see Hanya Mask. We've also got Operama. We got a whole bunch of Bushi to come through as well. Not exactly sure which myth unit he's scared of here, so I don't know why he's building those. Of course, there is the... Actually, no, I do know. The temple, the Great Temple Sacrifice for Tunison is going to come through, and that's going to be 6 myth units to come in very, very quickly. So having these Bushi out, having heroes out preemptively does make sense versus the Aztecs when you realize they're going to the Mythic Age. As the Naginata Riders will pop through, and that's going to be a 1 villager kill. Every little bit of damage here does sort of matter. Pegasus doesn't want to stay too long underneath that castle, so he will be pulling back. But Watatsumi is in. Tlalocan is... Tlaloc is on the way as well. The game continues as... Looks like Pegasus's plan here is actually to go into Onmyoji, which I think is really, really smart. One, it's a hero, and it takes down that big myth unit spike from Tunison, as all those myth units pop out. And 2, he's got access to this Watatsumi, so this Dragon Typhoon, so he's got nothing to worry about here. Nonetheless, the Ahuizotl come through. I love this unit. I think it's so cool, so strong. He does have access to training it, actually, and I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of villagers getting sacked at this point and starting to actually increase the amount of those myth units in his army, specifically these bad boys. These are really, really good. They're expensive, though. 320 food, 28 favor, but really, really strong. As I say that, one does end up dying because it gets caught out. But anyways, game goes on, and the units here for Tunison will pop out. Now, technically speaking, if Pegasus just drops Dragon Typhoon down, I'm pretty sure he just wins this fight outright. I don't think he has to worry about anything here. And he drops the Swampland first and the Thunderburst. I don't know about that decision. That's not going to be giving him the most value out of his unique Major God bonus. But the heroes pulling back here, they're going to be dealing with those myth units pretty quickly. Naginata Riders now coming over onto the Eagle Warriors here as well. The Tunkalachu going to be dying, as well as that Super Tekshipla, the reincarnate of Quetzalcoatl, does end up getting taken down. Tunkalachu does end up dying there as well, and the rest of these myth units will end up getting picked off. So Tunison manages to survive. He spends 2 god powers to do it, to get through that burst, but the game is only just starting here. Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm realizing I'm missing a timer here. The game is only just starting. 3rd town center coming through for Tunison. He's going to grab this gold mine. Having control of a corner at this point for Pegasus is really, really important. Wall here, and I'd love to see this walled off. That gives him access to 3 gold mines. The other position here that's going to be super important to control, and unfortunately Pegasus hasn't got over here just yet, is this left side. Tunison, while grabbing this 3rd town center, is great, smart, strong, going to help him out a ton. He does really need to be considering how he's going to get in here and control these gold mines, because this is going to be what wins and loses this game. Gold mine control. There's 2 large gold mines apiece for both of these players, which is just not going to be possible to get gold starved. You're not possible to win the game, in other words, unless you just outright just break through your opponent's base. But these 3 gold mines on the side, as well as the corner for a trade route, that's everything. Nonetheless, the Eagle Warriors coming through en masse here for Tunison. He's still got a very powerful god power inside of Tailwind. But the one thing here for Pegasus to be careful of is you really got to be careful to not go too hard onto those Yumi archers or onto horse cavalry, because the Eagle Warriors will absolutely fry those. Shinobi are actually an answer here. We don't see them all too often. They are kind of a little bit on the weak, I wouldn't say weak side, but they're a very high skill cap unit. In that they've got huge amounts of DPS and not very much survivability. But in this case, with all of those Eagle Warriors, if you had about 10 of them out, you would absolutely erase that army of Eagle Warrior. As the Pillar of Tlalcan does get dropped down, we do have the unfortunate, the Watatsumi Dragon Typhoon gets dropped down, and Tunison with the reaction to a fox dives into his town center. He pops back out, ready to start fighting now, as the Onmyoji will be able to take out that Pillar of Tlalcan here. They are siege units, and that is a siege building, and with nothing there, it will end up dying, as there goes the Swampland and also the Kusanagi to send everyone flying. Tailwind forced out there as well to get out of the Swampland, and now there's nothing really left for Tunison here to deal with this. Of course, Thunderbirds could get dropped down on top of those Eagle Warriors. That could be strong. We've got a couple of the Naginata riders now taking out the Eagle Warriors. We've also got the champion Jaguar riders getting brought in the mix here. I mean, militarily speaking, it's basically equal. Villager-wise, it's definitely an advantage for Tunison, but that's going to be all cleaned up momentarily. There's 7 Mikor, actually, so I wouldn't say it's equal. Sorry, I wouldn't say an advantage for Tunison. I'd say it is equal, because that favor income is very, very important, as we're now starting to see more and more walls coming up for Pegasus. I like this move because why not? Literally, why not? If you can prevent your opponent from raiding you with massive amounts of walls and you've got the resources for it, why not? And you can see these Jaguar Rider's going to come over here, see the walls, and be like, oh no, I got to go elsewhere. Now, he can swing around this way. This is open. So it's not like these walls do anything at the moment, because you can get around away from it. But nonetheless, a little bit of a fight over onto this side yet again, as the Warrior Priests are going to try and dive in onto those Revenant Shinigami. Pegasus, for the moment, does have his upgrade for them, so I believe they're going to pop back out here after they die. You get the Shinigami, you get the Revenant Shinigami, and you get the final one, right? So I'm not sure. Maybe this is the final one. And there's a Vengeful Shinigami. So yeah, you do get an extra one once that technology is in, of which it is. So many, many myth units for Pegasus to enjoy, and he can just keep spamming them out. He is missing himself his fortified town centers at the moment. But the big question is going to be, does Tunison have answers for these Shinigami? Now, I was expecting to just see the God Power spam, because that seems to be what people want to do. Vengeful Shinigami up to the top. But Pegasus here says, no. Let's go in for the Vengeful Shinigami. Now, this does 2 things for Pegasus. 1, it's going to help him unlock his last tier of Bushido. And 2, it's going to force Tunison into making Warrior Priests, which, to be honest, not that good. The other option here for Tunison would be actually to be building his own myth unit to deal with those Shinigami. If he has those out, they can be very, very strong. We are seeing castles coming up on this left side for Pegasus at the moment, as he's very well aware that controlling that left side is literally everything moving forward in this game. Now, on top of this, however, Tunison is reading the mass cavalry coming through, and he's getting himself his spearmen. As the villagers will make their way over here, the Revenant Shinigami coming in with the special will absolutely erase all of those villagers. To be honest, losing these villagers right now, not good, but not really all that important at this stage of the game. He's just going to rebuild them. It's fine. As Pegasus will now pull back his fortified town centers is coming in. He actually does manually research champion Cav here because it's very important to do so, as the cavalry coming in from the right side looking for a massive flank as the Shinigami getting their damage off. I don't know exactly where all of the rest of the myth units from Pegasus are, but he's in on this fight, and those spearmen absolutely melt the Naginata riders here, and Pegasus, just simply put, does not win this fight. He's got tons of idle units over here, but I feel like he needs something different at the moment. I'm not sure that Naginata Rider, Horse Archer, is going to be able to take out the Tlamani Spearman and the Eagle Warrior. What will, though? Samurai seem really, really good here. Shinobi, in a pinch, maybe. He's got plenty of resources, so he can easily build that high cost army. Swampland to come down here as well. There is also Thunderburst to drop onto this one, but Pegasus feeling like he doesn't need to overspend to win this fight. I don't like that call in the slightest. The Ahuzotl at the moment is absolutely going to be carrying these fights, tanking a huge amount of damage as more units are getting pumped out for Pegasus, but he's just not able to win these fights, and this Swampland just not doing the damage that I think Pegasus was expecting here. Now, on the other side, Dragon Typhoon is coming in very, very shortly. 89 favor. He's only a tiny bit of favor away from grabbing that one there. Over onto this side, you can actually see where the problems for Pegasus are arising. His units are not in the right spot. That is a lot of military resource value there, and a lot of advantage versus those Tlamani Spearmen. God, that's so hard to say. Tlamani Spearmen. They are an amazing advantage versus them, but he needs everything there to really make it happen. And at this stage, now all of a sudden, while Pegasus has got this gold mine sorted, and this gold mine sorted, and this gold mine sorted, and the walls coming up, all of a sudden, the gold mines at the top are going to be the ones under threat. And Pegasus running in with all of these Shinigami at the moment, this is not going to be a good idea. You don't want a squishy unit charging to its death here. Mass death there. He does get all of them back in as Revenant Shinigami, and even Vengeful Shinigami will come through as well. But that there was not ideal for Pegasus. Pegasus is getting closer and closer on this Dragon Typhoon, which can completely turn the tides of this game in a heartbeat. But on the flip side, I think this is literally just the Pochtakat caravans doing everything. But now Tunison is spreading out onto every which different area in this map. And I don't know if Pegasus is just AFK or what's going on. He's still building himself the Onmyoji, but the resource differential is through the roof. He doesn't have anything left, and he's now producing Naginata riders, but he's got no units. He's got no pop. He's got resources in the bank. He's about to lose a town center. And I think, and I could be wrong, but I think Tunison is getting away with it in this game. I don't see this game as Pegasus losing here. I see this game as Pegasus having either something actually, this is a ladder game, right? Either something actually happened in real life and Pegasus had to AFK for a bit, or Pegasus's brain just switched off and he just stopped playing the game for a minute or two, and now he's in a position where, well, he's got plenty of resources, but he's just kind of given up. And with the Great Temple coming into the middle of the map, buildings coming up all over the middle here, all of a sudden Tunison will be able to break through, and no real amount of spend here from Pegasus is going to help. I mean, he's got two Miko, getting favor, 9 favor. He can use a Dragon Typhoon, and picking off an entire army here of Tunison would effectively win him the game, right? Like if he can kill off an entire army with a god power, there's no gold income basically for Tunison at the moment. Look at the resources in the bank. I don't understand. I want to understand, but I do not understand. Military buildings are coming down on the back here, and Pegasus just taps out. GG from Tunison. I don't think you walk away from this game saying that was a win for Tunison. He got the dub, but Pegasus just switched off. 3k food, 3k gold, 7k wood. Both corners secured. By all metrics, Pegasus should find a win in this game. But he just switched off at the end of it, and Tunison found a win. The interesting thing here is mostly what unit comp here should Susanoo be going to actually match up against Eagle Warrior Spearman? That's the real interesting question. Now, I believe that there was this one fight, and I think if you go back and take a look at it, there was this one fight, I think it was maybe here, I think it was actually here. There was this one fight that happened, and the military resource diff was just so gigantic for Pegasus, but he just lost it because half of his units weren't in the fight. And it might have been the same thing for here as well. He has all of these Shinigami that should have just absolutely dominated the fight, but they just weren't there. And that allowed Tunison to survive those sort of situations. Very, very interesting game. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider following the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And I will see you guys in the next game.